I was the girl that, my father gave me emergency money. That emergency money meant Neiman Marcus was having a sale and I needed to show up there. That was my emergency pre-kids. So I would freeze my credit cards inside of the refrigerator back then in a big bucket of ice. And so by the time I get an urge to buy something, I had to defrost the whole thing and go through. The urge had gone. What I started to do was go back into how did I become so disciplined when it comes to my finances, because I wasn't always disciplined. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Vibing with a Vision. Today we're going to talk about discipline. And I know many people have been taught that they are not disciplined because they're not successful. And I'm here to tell you, you are very disciplined. You are just disciplined to your bad habits. And one of the things you have to do is just retrain your brain to be disciplined to the right habits. One of the things that I've done in my own discovery is I am very disciplined when it comes to my business. However, I am not very disciplined when it comes to anything else, especially my weight. I have been carrying baby fat since baby fat was a thing. And I've realized that it's not that I'm not disciplined. It's just that to me, I have trained my brain that that's not an important thing. My brain does not believe that me getting up and going to the gym is as important as me checking my P&L or my balance sheet. So what is discipline? Discipline is not motivation. It's not a feeling, it's practice. But more than that, discipline is working with your real life, not the imaginary one where you're a different person. When I check my numbers early in the morning when I wake up, it's not because I'm motivated to do so. It's because I have trained my brain to know that that's non-negotiable. There is no such thing for me as I am too tired to look at my business numbers. There's no such thing as I'll check it later. There's no such thing as I have anxiety opening up my bank account. It's non-negotiable. We're going to look at it regardless of what is there and what's not there. Even with your children, when you wake up in the morning, you're looking to get your children breakfast, you're looking to make sure they're okay. That's not you being motivated to wake up. I don't know anybody who's motivated to wake up early in the morning to give their kids breakfast. It's just a skill that you've trained your brain that it's just non-negotiable. This is something that you have to do. You have to wake up in the morning and you have to go into the kitchen and you have to prepare breakfast for your family. Non-negotiable. And so it's the difference between the things you do consistently and the things you don't is that you've trained your brain of what's negotiable and what's non-negotiable. So what we want to do with our discipline is we want to transfer the non-negotiable. We want to actually look at the things that you say it's non-negotiable. And we're going to try and make the things that you wish was non-negotiable. And we're going to look at what makes things non-negotiable and what we consider negotiable. And we look at those two lists to determine what's on this list that would make me a successful person, that is hindering me from becoming a successful person. Whether it's the fact that you go to bed late, you overspend, whatever it is, you're going to look at your superpowers, things that are considered non-negotiable inside of your head. And then you're going to look at all the things that you wish you were doing that is all of a sudden negotiable to your brain. For me, I know that it's my health. My brain will tell me that checking my numbers is non-negotiable. And the same token, to grab breakfast before I walk out of the house, my brain will tell me we can get breakfast another time, or we can grab something at the office, or it will always give me a reason not to eat healthy because it's not a priority on my list. It will always give me an excuse that I'm too tired to go to the gym, or not even go to the gym. I have equipment in my house that I just don't use. I had gym membership over the years that many years ago, you sign up for a year, and if you use it, you use it. If you don't, you get penalized if you cancel early. So I've spent a lot of money. For somebody who's watching their money, I used to spend a lot of money on gym membership and never show up, because I would rather be sitting at my desk working on a project than getting up and actually going to the gym. And so what I had to do was take a look at what it is that I consider non-negotiable and the things that I was negotiating with, and see really what was important, and then apply the skills that I have for my non-negotiable and apply them over on this side that I need to be negotiable, to become, some of these things need to become non-negotiable. So a quick little thing that I did was I got a piece of paper, and you just jot down your superpowers, right? Whether it's your job, your home, your appearance, your friendship. Write them all down, things that you consistently show up for. And then I want you, on the next side of the paper, I want you to put down the things that we're gonna ask ourselves why it works. Ask yourself, is it schedule? Are there consequences if you don't show up? If you don't feed your babies breakfast in the morning, what's the consequences? You know, you have angry children. Do people depend on you? Yes, your children depend on you. Is it tied to your identity? Yeah, you want to be a great mom. Is there accountability? Yeah, if you don't feed your children, somebody comes knocking at your door that says you have been neglecting your children. So what I want you to do is I want you to decode your superpower, the things that you consider to be non-negotiable issues. We want you to sit down and figure out, why are they non-negotiable? Why have you trained your brain to look at these things and say these are non-negotiable? Whether I'm tired, whether I'm going to do these things. And remember what I said, sometimes your superpower show up in bad habits. Your superpower could possibly be you're a shopaholic. And so you should be working on your budget, but you need to feel good. So therefore, if you buy a pair of shoes or you buy that purse or something that you've been eyeing is now on sale, it's going to make you feel good. And so you want to feel good. And there are people who struggle with mental health illness and they want to feel good about themselves because they have low self-esteem. So on a separate piece of paper, what I want you to do is identify your struggle areas. Write down what you would love to show up for, but you just don't. Once you've written that down, we're going to diagnose the gap, and I call it the gap. What's missing between the two? For me, business is scheduled. Gym is when I have the time. Business is consequences. Gym isn't yet, right? The gym won't be a problem. My health won't be a problem until I go to the doctor and they say, hey, Miss Lecky, you've got this problem. Business is my identity. It's identity based. I want to be a successful business person. It is important for me. It's important for my children, for my children's children that I am a successful business person. The gym is a should, right? I would love to be 5'6" and 110 pounds, but I'm not, right? I'm like a little 5'3" and 160 pounds, and I need to lose that extra 20 pounds that I've been. But at the same time, the way I justify it in my head is, listen, I throw on a pair of stilettos, I could be 5'6". I throw some Spanx on, I can suck this in, and I will look good. And so we negotiate things, but damn the fact that I possibly have high cholesterol or there's something else going on with me. But again, my brain just negotiates itself to say, okay, you look good anyway. You'll be fine. You're young, you're healthy, you'll be fine. And that's not what we're supposed to do. So I started doing my research in how I was going to force myself to do all the tasks that I'm supposed to do to stay on top of my health. I tried pretty much everything. So when I was trying to get out of debt years ago as a young girl, I used to put obstacles in my way. And so I've learned that in order for you to prevent yourself from doing something, sometimes you have to create obstacles, right? Like I don't have a checking account and a savings account linked. at all. I discovered that when I was early 20s that that's not how we're going to do, because if I have money available to me like that, I could just get up and go shop and so forth, because when I was a young girl, I was a shopaholic. And I had to learn, if I wanted to have a successful life, if I wanted my children to go to college, if I wanted to live a comfortable life, I couldn't be a shopaholic. And so I used to create little things in my life. Like I listened to Susie Orman once, and she would talk about creating obstacles, and that's what I did. So I would freeze my credit cards inside of the refrigerator back then in a big bucket of ice. And so by the time I get an urge to buy something, I had to defrost the whole thing and go through. The urge had gone. So what I started to do was go back into how did I become so disciplined when it comes to my finances, because I wasn't always disciplined. I was the girl that, my father gave me emergency money. That emergency money meant Neiman Marcus was having a sale and I needed to show up there. That was my emergency pre-kids. It's not until my children were babies and I needed a house to raise them in, and I was a single mom. And so I had to learn to put something above my selfish needs of running out and buying the latest things. And so what I ended up doing was creating these little obstacles in my way. And so if I could create little obstacles now that would actually force me now to develop patterns that was going to help my health, I think I would be in the win. So a couple things that I started just slowly implementing is if I'm on the phone taking a business call, talking to my daughter, whatever I'm doing, I'm walking. I will pace my bedroom if I'm in the bedroom. If I'm in my office, I walk from one wall to the other. But if I'm on the phone, I'm standing up, I'm moving around. I am not sitting at a desk taking a phone call. So I started doing little things like that, and I wanted to be accountable because I'm also a person of goals. If I set a goal, I get anxious if I don't make that goal. And so because I know that about myself, I went into my Apple Watch and I'm like putting in all the information that I needed to do so it'll keep me accountable. And so I started doing little things like that, and then the thing happened. I found out that my insurance company actually pays me if I stay healthy. I buy it through the marketplace, and they actually give a $150 gift card if you can go to a wellness visit, if you download their app, and I can't remember the other thing. But rest assured, I was like, what? They pay you? Money is my language. And so then I started researching and trying to figure out what other apps pay you, what other things I can attach money to. And I've learned now, like there's apps on my phone that ties into my steps and it records my step, and now I have cash that I can go, to Amazon. Don't really shop on Amazon, but I can go on Amazon, eBay, anywhere that they give you a gift card to. And you know what? Guess what? Even if I don't shop on Amazon, that's somebody's Christmas present. Once I tied it all into my finances, once I realized that I took old patterns that I used to create myself to become disciplined with finances, I started using those same kind of skills to apply. I have become better. I am still on the journey, still haven't lost any weight, but I'm still on the journey. Years ago, when it came to my weight, it wasn't a big deal, right? I wanted to be 5'6" and 110 pounds. And I haven't been 110 pounds since my son was born. And we're talking almost 30 years ago. Once I became disciplined on my money, my weight became like less and less and less important over the years. And what I would tell myself is, well, with a great pair of Spanx, and I've got the money to afford a great pair of Spanx, I could look like I'm 100 and something pounds, right? I can look good. And if I get some stiletto heels, I can be 5'6". So for me, I had hit my goal. I'm not, but once age jumps in, that was the kicker for me. My weight is no longer tied to my looks. My weight is now tied to my health. Am I going to be here to see my grandchildren, right? And the way these kids are going, I swear to God, I have a grandcat. There is no grandchildren anytime soon. So sometimes I think I'm building my wealth for my grandcat or a grand dog if I ever get a grand dog. But grandchildren, I don't see I'm getting anytime soon. But I would like to be alive just in case one of my children decides that they want to bless me with children. I hope you guys will look at the lesson plan. Do the quick exercise if you truly want to see how, you can show up for the things that you've been neglecting over the years that is holding you back from either being a successful business person, getting out of debt, starting your own business. And once you do the exercise, I'd love to hear from you to see how it's working out for you. You'll know if I've lost weight and if it's working out for me. So we'll both keep each other accountable at this point. Okay, so just as a recap, we're going to do the exercise, retraining your brain. And fair warning, this might feel uncomfortable because we're looking at the gap between who you already are in one area and who you want to be in another area. Now, grab a piece of paper, and no, this doesn't work in your head. And I want you to identify your superpower area. Write down the area where you consistently show up no matter what. And then I want you to kind of decode it. I want to know why it works. Ask yourself, is it schedule? Are there consequences? Do people depend on you? Is it tied to your identity? Is there accountability? Write everything down. You're reversing engineering your discipline. Now, the next thing that I want you to do is identify your struggling area. Write down the thing you keep trying to show up for, but you can't make it stick. And then I want you to diagnose the gap between the two. And then I want you to try and transfer the structure that you have applied to the superpower area. I want you to now apply it to your the areas that you struggle with. And you will find out once you have, and it doesn't have to look perfect, and you don't have to do it and constantly show up every day. You just want to start making an effort and build little small momentums. So don't worry about the fact that if you set 19 things that you should be done, that should have done, if you just show up for 5, you're ahead of the game because you wasn't showing up for any of those things. So I want you to do this exercise because, one of the things I realize is that my brain lies to me to avoid discomfort. I learned that system beats motivation every day, and I have learned to forgiveness keeps you moving. And so you have to learn to forgive yourself for the times that you don't actually show up the way that you are supposed to, but at least you made an attempt. Nothing beats a failure than a trial. You're going to keep doing this no matter how much the wins are small, because if you keep doing it, it becomes automatic, and then this will work for you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something today that you didn't learn before.